Hey, my fellow learners and true believers, in the freedoms and the liberties that are provided to us via our Constitution. Our Constitution, because it is the Constitution of the United States. And for those who are citizens of the United States, it is your Constitution. Of course, if you're not a citizen of the United States, you're still protected by the rights and privileges of some aspects of the Constitution. We'll learn more about that during the semester. Well, our purpose today is to give you some specifics on what you need to do in order to pass this class. Number one, let's talk about the discussion boards. So here's the requirement for the discussion boards in case you didn't read the syllabus. Your discussion boards requires you to do one original post and then respond to two posts of one of your classmates. Now, when responding to posts, your response cannot be the simple, I agree, or that's a great point, or an elongated, simplified response, such as, you made a great point, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. We should do better. No. You need to have a response to a post that has substance. Something that can even intrigue the writer of the original post even more. So, for example, if you have a post that's going to talk about the shutdown of the federal government. So let's say that's a post in your response. Let's say that you write out your response. Your response should be, at least three sentences at a minimum, right? What are your thoughts about it? You should be able to convey your thoughts in an academic setting, academic style, which means there should be no errors, no spelling errors, no grammar errors, because you are academicians, right? This is your job. Your job as a college student is to get your degree. And so we're going to treat this class and your assignments like a job, so you need to do your job well. Okay? So what you'll need to do is you'll respond in 3 to 4 sentences, which amounts to about a paragraph, of your thoughts on the government shutdown. Is it right? Is it wrong? Okay? Your response could be either you agree or you don't agree, but you need to explain why. Okay? So, if I was a student and my original post says, I disagree with President Trump on shutting down the government in order to build a wall. I believe wholeheartedly that border security is of the utmost responsibility of the President of the United States to ensure that our borders are secure from terrorism and terrorist attacks and would-be terrorists who would come across the border in order to threaten the life and the liberty of not just the citizens of the United States, but also those who would come through legally into the United States seeking the liberty that the Constitution bestows upon us, period. So let's say that you disagreed with that. You would say, for an example, you make very good points as to why you disagree with the president, period. However, I disagree with your response, period. I believe that the government shutdown is necessary in order to secure the border, period. We shouldn't have to, and go on and on about, to finish my thoughts, we should be willing to sacrifice the paychecks of a few government employees in order to make sure our borders are secure. And if this is the only way that our president can secure our borders, then doggone it, that's what he should do. All right? So that response is about 2 to 3 sentences. So you need to have substance in your response. You need to disagree or agree and then state why. Or if you don't have an opinion at all and say, you know what, I don't have an opinion about this subject, because ABC, HIJ. Okay? So, that's an example there on discussion boards. Secondly, let's talk about your exams. So for your exams, you're going to have four exams, okay? Of those four exams will be about 100 to 125 points each, okay? That means it is incumbent upon you to learn almost everything that's in the book. But before each exam, at least a week before, you're going to have a study guide. That study guide is going to give you specific items that you should know. There's going to be terms that you should know and definitions that you should know. I'll give you an example. If we do a case, and it will be a case, like Marbury v. Madison, okay? If you see Marbury v. Madison, that's Marbury versus Madison, on the study guide, then you should know the following about Marbury v. Madison. Number 1, who was Marbury? 2, who was Madison? 3, what was the issue? 4, what did the court decide? And 5, why did the court decide to rule in the favor? Okay? If there's definitions such as federalism, then you need to know the definition of federalism, because you could see federalism on an exam one of many ways. 1, federalism is defined as XYZ. Or you could see a definition for federalism and say, well, what does this mean? Is it federalism? Is it anti-federalism? Is it conservatism? Is it liberalism? And you have to choose from that definition. So just remember that every term or every item that you see on the study guide could have multiple questions to it in multiple ways. So you want to make sure that you understand, okay, the concept. And that way, it narrows down the focus on what you should know. Because the PowerPoints that we have in class that you see will give you a lot of information and give you in-depth things. I'll come back and let you know, hey, these are the things that you really need to pay focus to, because it will be on the exam. And that's what the study guide is for, so you have a week in advance notice. Now, your first exam is over a lot of chapters 1 through 5. Okay, so I know that's a lot. The good news is your second exam is only over chapters 6 through 9. And so you'll be just fine, trust me. Excuse me. The other thing to consider on the exam is the first exam is always going to be the hardest exam, because while I'm telling you what to expect, you don't really know what to expect. And so if you don't do well in the first exam, don't worry about it. You're good. You'll be just fine. Remember to set your academic goals at the beginning of the semester, and then you work towards those academic goals to achieve those goals during the semester. So there, we covered 2 things so far: discussion board, and we covered exams. Number 3, you have essays. So sometimes you'll have discussion boards and sometimes you'll have essays. Now for your essays, there are 3 key things to remember. Number 1, your essay must be written. Number 1, remember, your essay must be written like a college student. Okay? 2, spelling and grammar count. You cannot write a college essay like you're talking to your friends. Okay? If you do that, you're going to get points knocked off. Third thing to remember is it's always good to provide some citations. So if you take a quote or take something from the book, make sure that you cite it. Well, what do you mean, Professor Fitton? Well, easy. We use MLA citation. And so with MLA citation, what you would want to do is make sure that you add parenthetical reference. Okay? Just remember to add parenthetical reference, because that makes your essay and gives it even more profound punch. Okay? When you write and you're able to take the ideas of other scholars and say, this supports my thinking because Sabato says da 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 da. Okay? HIJ. And in support of what you believe and what your thoughts are. So remember that with your essays. The rubric is there for you to see how you'll be graded on your essays. And I like to diversify it so it's not just all about discussion board. There's some essays. And so your essays are worth 10 points, and then your discussion boards, there's a rubric for your discussion boards as well. So I want to make sure that that you have plenty of opportunities in order to score, in order to achieve your academic success. Now, here's another thing to remember. There may be pop quizzes. I may give an additional quiz, a part of whatever is already in there. Okay? These quizzes will help you to achieve your academic goals. It will help you study for your exams. because you may or may not see those same questions on the exam, but at least it gives your thought process. It gives your thinking of, oh, Marbury v. Madison. Okay, I remember that. And it will recall back to your memory, okay? So even though the most amount of points that you'll get is 900, there will be opportunities throughout as I treat it, the online course, just like I treat my regular course for attendance purposes. Hey, here's a pop quiz, and we're going to throw the pop quiz in there, and you'll have a certain time in order to get it done. So it is important that Monday through Thursday that you do check the discussion board, not the discussion board, but you check the announcements and you check your emails. If you don't check your emails, you won't be able to succeed in this course. If you don't check the announcements, you will not be able to succeed in this course. Okay? So let's make sure you do that. And more importantly, you have to read and retain information. Okay? Especially the information that's in the PowerPoints. Because that's that is the specific way of where the lecture is given. So, with that being said, I've held you up already for about 11 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and go to my doctor's appointment now. Again, if you need to reach me, the fastest, most efficient way is to go ahead and text me. All right? Hey, you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.